Tim and I were riding around in our gang car. We weren't in gangs, but less than a year. And it was time for dinner. We were just cruising around. And Tim liked to go to the same restaurant all the time. So we went to this McDonald's down on Long Beach Boulevard, which was south of Alondra, which is right in Southside Crip territory, right? So even the drive-through, it goes in this alley where a lot of people used to get robbed there and stuff, but Tim liked to go in there. So we went through the drive-through, and we pulled out of the drive-through, and we're almost to Long Beach Boulevard, and one of the local hookers comes up to Tim's window, because we know them, they give us information or whatever, we knew them. And she was talking to us, and then all of a sudden, man, bam, 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 bam. All these shots, we can hear him hitting our car, hitting the ground. Hooker takes off running, and so instinctively, Tim and I, we jumped out of the car, food's flying all over the place. And we got our guns out, and the shots came from the alleyway down there. So we ran towards the shots, and we seen some kids start to run away, right? There was like 2 or 3 of them. And we ran towards them, and there was a Samoan church that was right next to them, and they saw these kids shooting, and they're pointing, they're running down the street, right? So by the time we got there, they were gone, but we didn't see them, and we were there like within a minute. And we knew there was a known gang house that was like 3 or 4 houses down, where it was the McLean house. They were a bunch of brothers, and they were deep south side and did a lot of stuff. We were frequent that house like we frequent Mob James' house, you know, as one of them houses. So we put it out on the radio, and the troops were coming in, code 3, and we cordoned off the block. And by that time we were kind of out of it, but because we were the guys shot at, so they didn't want us to go in and say something happened, and you know, hey, these guys just wanted revenge, so they just kind of kept us out of it. But they went in the house eventually, and they took 3 juveniles into custody. One was Orlando Anderson, and one was Michael Durow, and the other one was Duck. Can't remember his name, but they call him Duck. He was the actual shooter. So they brought him down to the station, and Duck, Lavelle Moore, see, it'll pop in. I'm old, it'll pop into my head. Lavelle Moore, Duck, he copped out to shooting at us, and basically what he said was, I was the shooter, Michael Durow and Orlando Anderson, they were with me, but they didn't shoot, but that was our initiation into the gang, that they said, hey, if you try to kill Blondie and Ladd, that's your initiation in the Southside Crip gang. So, nothing ever happened to Orlando Anderson or Michael Durow regarding that shooting, but I think Damon not Lavelle Moore, he got like a slap on the wrist back then, man, because I'm telling you, people don't realize, they go, yeah, how come they didn't do anything for shooting at cops or whatever, but I'm telling you, the juvenile system back then was so inundated with cases that they got rid of stuff that you wouldn't even believe. Attempted murder, they just got a slap on the hand and did a little bit of juvenile time, and they're back out in the streets, right? So that was our first run-in with Orlando Anderson and Michael Durow back in the day.
Wild.
We had a murder down in Nutty Block. I can't remember the street, but the guy's name was Elbert Webb, and he was a known Palmer Block OG Crip, whatever, right? So at that time, Southside Crips and Palmer Block, they were going at it. They had some argument over drugs again, and they were shooting back and forth. Nutty Block was like a neutral area for both sides to go, because Nutty Block got along with Southside, Nutty Block got along with Palmer Block Crip. So they were having a party this particular night. Orlando Anderson and Deandrae Smith both had like Mac 10 type guns. They walked up to him. And Orlando Anderson, according to witnesses, he was gonna shoot him. They were in a heated argument. He was gonna shoot him, but his gun, it clicked, but it didn't go off. So he hit Elbert over the head with his gun, and it kind of fell apart. And this is where Deandrae Smith, who also had a gun, he popped him right in the head, and he killed him. And they jump in their Blazer and they leave. And this is from 20 witnesses, but of course, by the time we get there, we only got one good witness, right?
Right.
We end up arresting Deandrae Smith, Big Dre, for the murder, and they didn't want to mess with Orlando, the DA's office at that time, because he was still a prime suspect in the Tupac murder. So they said, you need to get your ducks more in a row regarding him or whatever. But
why would that keep them from wanting to?
That's the DA. The DA's.
You don't know what their reasoning was?
We thought they should have arrested them both, right?
Is it just because he's high profile now because of the Tupac thing? Don't go at him unless you got a good, unless you got him dead to rights, I guess?
Right, okay. Because it was already high profile. You're right about that. So Deandrae Smith went to trial, and the only witness we had was a gang member, right? And he ended up beating, actually got acquitted because the guy had no credibility, and they just tore him to pieces. So the moral of this story, he ended up getting off, but it was 3 or 4 days later, Tim and I were driving down, I think it was down there by Glencoe and Burris, I'm not sure the two streets, but we saw this big guy in the shadows, man. And we go, is that Deandrae already? And he's dressed in all black, and he's a big dude. I mean, he's 6'6" or something like that. I mean, he's a big dude. And he's standing there just like I am with his arm folded like this. And so we backed up, and there was nobody else around, and he's dressed in all black. And so Tim shines the light on him, right? And it was Deandrae. And he goes, fuck you, lad. Blondie and lad. He said Blondie. He goes, fuck you, Blondie and lad. And during this time a long ago, if somebody did that to you, we'd jump out and say, hey, what's up, man? You know what I'm saying? And probably end up taking him to jail, seeing, because, hey, what's going on? You want to fight with us or what, right? So he just sat there like this, and Tim said, he goes, really? And he didn't say anything, right? I go, what are you mad? Tim goes, what are you mad about? You got away with it. And he goes, that's right. And so we just sat in the car. We kind of looked at each other and said, well, should we get out or not? But he didn't say anything else. He said the first F you, and then he didn't continue with it, you know what I mean? So it didn't progress. So we just said, and we drove off. So that was our story with him. So
wow.
I know.